We are now 3 days away from Election Day, and the balance of power is still up for grabs in the Congress.
So remarkable ballot counting efforts still underway in several key states, including Nevada and in Arizona. Georgia's key Senate race is set for a December 6th runoff, you may remember. Once the dust settles, though, the House is still expected to flip red. Republicans have so far secured 213 seats, as you see on your screen, while Democrats hold 206. Both parties are fighting to hit the 218 marker in order to take the majority.
And in the Senate, Democrats have secured 48 seats in comparison to Republicans' 49 seats. It takes 51 seats to claim the Senate majority. There are still several races yet to be called.
Let's bring in CBS News correspondent Christina Ruffini for more. Christina, great to see you. I believe you are in Phoenix, Arizona. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't see the locator up on screen.
I also believe I'm in Phoenix, Arizona, but, you know, we've been bouncing around. But yes, I think that's where we are. So good morning, guys. Nice to see you.
Yes, and the reason you're bouncing around and the reason you're there is because it's really become a focal point of the nation because the ballot counting process is ongoing. Give us the latest.
That's right. So you're just talking about control of the Senate. This, of course, is one of those dwindling few races that have yet to be called. You can look behind me. You can see these people have been tabulating and counting up these ballots. The frustration is, why is it taking so long? And the reason it's taking so long, and Arizona is one of the states where you can vote in person on Election Day. Your vote goes put into the tabulator and get counted. But if you get here and you don't want to wait in that line, you can drop off your mail-in ballot, and that process is more complicated. They have to take it out. They have to verify the signatures. They have to make sure all the information is correct, and then they can count them. So what we're waiting on now is we're waiting on the ballots that were dropped off the weekend before Election Day. Those should be counted very soon. And the ballots that were dropped off on Election Day. And those ballots that were dropped off on Election Day are what the Republican candidates for both Senate and governor are hoping will possibly push them to overtake the Democrats. But that's getting harder and harder, especially in the Senate race. The new numbers we had from last night when they just released them, Democrat Mark Kelly is now ahead 51 to Blake Masters 46%. That's a pretty big lead that's going to be hard, not impossible to overtake. The governor's race is still closer, right? It's 47 to 52 with Democrat Katie Hobbs in the lead. Now, of course, we've heard some accusations from some of the Republican candidates, from some other Republicans out there saying the reason this vote count is taking so long is it's being slow-rolled. They're releasing batches that are favoring the Democratic candidates. We heard a pretty strong pushback yesterday from the heads of the voting system here, who are Republicans, who said, look, this is the law in Arizona. We are following the law. This is how long it takes. If you don't like it, talk to your state legislature.
And Christina, to follow up on what you were saying there, former President Trump and Republican gubernatorial candidate Kari Lake are attempting to sow doubt about the election and the results because of how long it's taking to count the ballots in Arizona. What are state election officials doing to ensure the validity of this election?
I mean, security here has really been stepped up since 2020. There's now something they addressed last night in the press conference, and something we're seeing as we come in. You have to have a credential. You have to scan in. If you remember those scenes here in Maricopa County with protesters screaming, people trying to, this is all walled off. It's very calm. There's very tight security. And they said last night that's for the safety of the poll workers, for the officials, and it's for the integrity of the ballots that they're counting. They're trying to be as transparent as possible. They said they're trying to release numbers as they get them. But of course, the longer this takes, the more time there is for people to question the process, especially those who aren't necessarily familiar and maybe don't want to become familiar with how the process is working. But it is an arduous process. One of the things they pointed out last night is there are several other states where the votes are still being tabulated. The difference is we've stopped caring because the margin was wide enough that the race was called. Where this becomes a critical issue is in these close races when every vote counts. You got to wait for every vote to be counted. And here, especially with the mail-in ballots, that means they have to unfold it. A bipartisan pair has to look at the signature. They both have to agree, and then it can move on. So even if that's going fairly quickly and they're saying, okay, 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 you know, if you're doing that a million times, of course it's going to take time. So everyone is waiting. Everyone is watching. So far, the temperature here has been much cooler than it has been in the past, but we'll have to see how long that holds as this process continues. The original thought was that they would have the ballots 90 to 90% counted by today. This is Friday. We were told, unfortunately, last night, they're not as far ahead as they'd like to be, and it's going to continue probably through the weekend and into Monday, possibly Tuesday.
All right. Well, a deliberate process to ensure the integrity of the election. Christina Ruffini for us in Arizona. Christina, thank you.